Hello everyone, this is Greg Wortko, Editor-in-Chief of Yard & Garden and GreenIndustryPros.com. Thank you for joining us for our four-part series of web briefings featuring Bob Clements, the green industry's most highly regarded business trainer of high-performance dealerships. Our exclusive sponsor for the series is Ideal Computer Systems. Ideal's business management software provides you with the most comprehensive, industry-specific solution on the market. Ideal invests its research and development based on dealer feedback to help you gain full control of your inventory, service department, customer service, pricing, purchasing, bookkeeping, and overall business management. To learn how Ideal can provide you with a complete solution that meets your specific needs, call 1-800-737-1620 or visit www.idealkit.com/YG. And here we go with part 3 of the series, Business People or Just People in Business. Hey, welcome back, Bob Clements. How are you doing today?
I am doing great, Greg. How are you?
Doing real good. We've gotten a real good response to the first two, Bob's Business Tips installments, and great subject today. We're going to get a little bit philosophical here. We're going to talk about the difference between business people and people in business. Is that kind of similar to that saying I've heard where you got to learn to work on your business and not just in it? Is that kind of the same thing, Bob?
It's very much the same thing. You know, too many times, and I'm going to raise my hand up here, too many times entrepreneurs like myself and like the dealers that are listening to this, we start out and we think we are business people, but what we really are, we are people who have a business. The business still runs us. The business still demands what it demands from us. And I tell the dealers, Greg, that I work with that they really have to going back to the old thing, you got to work on your business, not in your business all the time. Mm-hmm. And a part of that's just philosophically how you see business. Because this is probably one of the bigger challenges that I see dealerships have is the dealership runs them instead of them running the dealership.
Yeah. So if we're going to tell a dealer how to start making that mindset shift, where do you think he starts? Is it with his employees or maybe his customers or the products he sells, or where do you think we start, Bob?
Well, I think I tell my business owners there's really when you think about business, there's kind of four aspects of business. You know, the one is just the business itself. You know, as a business person, how do you see business? Mm-hmm. As a person in business, how do you see business? As a business person, they see business as an entity, a thing, mm-hmm. and it's not this emotional, soft, squishy kind of thing. It is what it is. And business people tend to manage a business by numbers. So when I work with dealers, I tell people there's a number for everything that goes on in your dealership. We know what tech efficiency should be. We know what recovery rate should be. We know what parts margin should be, what transaction times at the parts counter should be. We know what our closing ratio should be on our whole goods. Everything has a number associated with it. And so as a business person, once we know the number that we need, then we focus on managing to that number. Mm-hmm. People in business tend to manage with emotion. Yeah. They tend to not look at the number, but they look at this kind of soft thing, and they go, well, I hope we do better in service, or I hope we do better in parts, or I hope we have more people coming in. And so they don't really measure anything. They're just kind of going off of this gut emotion, and so business tends to just take them all over the place. I mean, they are constantly bumped left to right, up and down. Mm-hmm. So that's a piece of it. So how you think about your business. Is business something that is this kind of emotional thing you're attached to, or is business this thing that is something that we can measure and we can put metrics to and manage? Because I tell people you can't manage what you're not willing to measure. Right. And so if you're not willing to measure things in your business, then you're going to be a person that's constantly spending their life in chaos. Mm-hmm. And you don't make money when you're in chaos. So how you look at the business is a part of it. The other one that I tell my guys, business people look at vendors differently than people in business look at them.
Yeah, right.
And the vendors, the manufacturers are an important part of business, but manufacturers are business people. They are not people in business.
Right.
And so if you're a business person, you're going to run over a person who is in business. And a lot of my dealers who are people in business, They get frustrated and angry at their manufacturers because they don't understand them. But I tell people, but my business people who are dealers who are business people, they get it. Business people see vendors as business people too, and they understand that the main interest of a business person is market share. Okay, vendors, they care for their dealers, kind of. More important, though, to a vendor, a manufacturer, is market share, market share, market share.
Sure.
And not the well-being of the dealership. Now, it doesn't mean they want their dealers to fail or not be profitable, but they wake up every morning as a manufacturer, and the one thing that drives them is market share. So business people understand that, and they don't get upset, right? But they're not as loyal to a vendor as maybe a person in business, because that's the difference I see. People in business tend to be loyal to their vendors, and they expect their vendors or their manufacturers to be loyal to them. And then when the manufacturer isn't loyal, I put another dealer in right down the road. I put this person in. I did this. Then the person in business is really disappointed because they would have never done that themselves. So I tell people, business people aren't disappointed by manufacturers. They just know that manufacturers are primarily interested in market share. And the same token, if a business person has a vendor that's not doing what they need to do, a business person is not loyal to that vendor. They will go find somebody else that will do it for them. Where people in business tend to get disappointed a lot because they see vendors differently than probably what they should.
You bet. And you mentioned an important point. If you can measure it, you can manage it. I think we know, like with employees, you obviously in the shop, you can take a look at technician efficiency. If you have salesperson or salespeople, you're looking at their sales ratios and et cetera. What about this concept? Because I've heard people over the years often say, I need to fire this customer, this customer, maybe customer group. Any advice there on how a dealer who's a actual business person should be viewing his customer base?
Well, absolutely. And again, that's one of the things. Business people understand that different customers have different value to the business. And if a customer that they have is not profitable, they're not interested in that customer. Okay. People in business believe that all customers have the same value and should be treated equally, and they never really go back and look at what the real money that customer produces in. I encourage all of my established dealerships to work every year on firing some of their low-producing customers. Some of these businesses, some of the dealers have customers that they've been customers for years, but they've never really made any money on them. I mean, they beat them down on the price of their whole goods. They always complain about the service. They don't want to pay what they want to do. Yeah. And so the people in business say, well, but they're still a customer. That's true. But a business person would say it's a customer, but it's not a customer I want anymore. Yeah. And so they would, as you said, Greg, they would fire them. They would say, we can't really do business with you anymore. So that's the big thing, I think. Business people understand that customers have different values, and they're really interested in taking their top customers. They move them to the front of the line in all aspects of the dealership. My business people who are dealers have their customers categorized as A, B's, and C's.
Okay.
And an A customer in one of my dealerships, really is a great customer. They're profitable. They're good to work with. It doesn't mean that they're not tough, but they're good to work with. They appreciate what the dealerships brings to them. And in our dealerships, an A customer can get pretty much anything that they want. I don't mean from a discount, but I mean if they want to talk to a technician in my shop, an A customer has the right to go back and talk to a technician. And I mark that off as marketing time. If they want special things done, I will do special things for them. In my shops, an A customer gets always moved to the front of the line. I don't care if there's pieces of equipment that's been there 3 days before theirs has, an A customer always goes to the front because they're very profitable. People in business, again, tend to treat everybody equally, and it's kind of that first in, first out mentality. And every customer is equally important to them. And that's the thing that they have to kind of get in their head, that every customer has a different value, and they have to position themselves with those customers in that sense. Yeah.
Here's maybe a kind of a strange question, but this isn't something the dealer would broadcast. This is something he knows, okay, they're an A customer, and he might not necessarily say to a C customer, you're a C customer, I'll get to you in a minute.
No. No, actually what we do is every business management software out there has the ability to put a customer class in it. And so again, if a parts person's there at the counter and they pull up this person's name, it's going to show up as an A, and they know this person's going to get special treatment. If this person comes into the shop and we pull up their work order and we say, oh, it shows an A by their name, we move them to the front of the line.
Okay.
So no, the customer, we would never tell the customer that I'm sorry, you're a C customer, we're not going to help you today. But internally, everybody needs to know that A customers, they're gold to us, and we treat them as very precious commodities.
You bet. And I'm sorry I had to ask that question, because I've been in some dealerships, not necessarily lawn and garden dealerships, but I've been places where they would tell you you're a C customer.
Yeah, no, that would be a bad idea.
Right.
Very bad idea.
Very good. No, great.
C customers don't want to think that they're C customers.
Right. Great advice. Again, this is another topic, Bob. We can talk forever. Before we close her out today, anything you want to leave our listeners with? Final word of wisdom? Well,
just again, I would encourage all the dealers, don't get frustrated that you're a person in business. That my company's 20 plus years old now, and for about the first 4 years, I was simply not a business person, but a person in business, and I didn't make the kind of money, and I had a lot of frustrations with it. Once I really changed how I saw my business and what I saw, everything really started to work for me. And I would encourage people that it's just a mental, like you said, it's a mental thing, and it's a mental change that they need to make. But if they do it, their business will produce money. It'll be so much more enjoyable to work into, and they'll actually get a life again.
Yeah. Very good advice, and as always, we appreciate it, Bob. We're going to have you back. One more, the fourth and final installment of Bob's Business Tips here in a couple of weeks. We're getting closer to the fall time, and that means we're getting closer to GIE Expo. And, Bob, we're going to get you back to talk about some of the new things you'll be doing at the show. You're always a huge celebrity at the show, but this year you're going to even be doing some more fun stuff, so we look forward to learning about it.
Great. Look forward to talking to you.
Okay, take care.